So I'm going to show you what I did to come up with the images that I had posted in a previous video. I'm using the Galaxy S22 Plus, and this method works with the newer Galaxies. I'm not sure if there's a equivalent way of doing this with the iPhone or with another manufacturer or with older Galaxies, but I know it works with this newer line. I think the software requirements for the phone are that you have to be running the One UI 5.0 software. And then basically you're going to download a free app to make this work. There may be I think that the results that I got are much better than you're going to get out of a night mode. I think that the way that smartphones normally do a night mode is to take a long exposure, something that may be 4, 5, 10 seconds long, and then try to apply some kind of HDR logic to it where the brights aren't too blown out and the blacks aren't too dark, and it tries to balance it all out. And night mode works pretty good, but I don't think you're going to get anywhere near the number of stars that I got with what's called Astro mode. So let me show you how I get this all set up. First thing you're going to need to do on a Samsung phone is go into the Galaxy Store. You cannot do this with the Play Store, the Google Play Store. You need to use Galaxy Store, and you need to be able to do this on your phone. You cannot go to the Galaxy Play Store on a desktop browser. It will not show this app. So it may be that it sees that you're using a phone, and that's why it allows you to download it. So even though the ratings aren't great, I think that probably an app for doing raw image processing has a lot of different uses. So as far as what it does specifically for astrophotography, for what we're doing here, it seemed to work fine. So you're going to want to download this app and install it. And you'll see that I've got my camera and my Expert RAW icons here. I'm going to start the Expert RAW because the Astro mode does not get added by default to your camera. It is a separate, you have to access it separately using the Expert RAW app. So across the top, I have a couple of icons that are in yellow. The one in the top, the second one over from the top left is a 5-second timer. I use that when I'm putting a camera on a tripod so that I can hit the button and then get away from the tripod so that my footsteps aren't introducing any kind of unnecessary shake. The top right icon is for putting you into or enabling the Astrophoto mode. And you'll see that there are 3 different settings on the duration: 4 minutes, 7 minutes, and 10 minutes. Just above that, Sky Guide will actually, I did not play around with using this in the field yet, but it will show you constellations, and supposedly it uses the gyroscopes in the phone, the sensors in the phone, if you will, to determine where you are and what you should be able to see. I'm interested to see how that looks, but when I was out in the field the other day, I didn't even think to try it. So we're going to hide that. And then you'll notice that if I tap on the screen, I can change from ultra wide, telephoto, wide, different settings. And the numbers on the bottom change, but what you cannot change is the ISO and the speed. So it's probably set up for the way it's doing the processing that you can't do that. And I don't think there's any way to override that. It would be nice to try to cut down on the noise a little bit and maybe say leave the lens open a bit longer, but this is how it's set up. So this is what we're working with. You're not going to be able to see a ton of stars in your viewfinder, in your screen, because they're just so dim, and your best bet is to try to find a couple of bright stars and frame your image based on those. But once you get it set up, if I hit the start button here, I'll get a 5-second countdown, and then whatever your settings are, mine was set for 10 minutes, it's going to start taking a 10-minute image. When you are done, you come back to your phone and you are presented with the screen presented with the screen we were just at, but now you've got a JPEG and a DNG RAW file stored on your phone. So I'm going to stop this and let's take a look at what we had for images when I went out yesterday. And I've got basically 2 different images that I took at 2 different, I think one of them was a wide and one of them was a telephoto, and I may have used 2 different times. I think I used a 4-minute and a 10-minute maybe, but let me show you what I've got here. I took this image because I wanted to see how well it would do with framing Orion, which is right here, and Mars, which is up in the corner here, and Pleiades, which is over here. And it did a pretty good job. I'm going to zoom in here, and what you'll see is we've got a little bit of a odd shape to these stars. Now, at first I was like disappointed that I saw that, but for the overall image, considering that this is being done with the phone and that there's no stacking actually going on, no manual stacking, no dealing with hundreds of images, that you're basically just pumping this through an app, it really wasn't too bad overall, especially if you're from any kind of distance. Now, I was pointing off to the south, and there is a town to me to the south, so I was getting some light pollution in there. But for the most part, even with that, this sky was probably a Bortle 3, leaning more towards 4. I'm getting this little bit of a flare here, and around the edges of the flare especially, I think is noticeable, because this is the Orion Nebula here, and for a smartphone to be able to pick that up, that was pretty impressive. A couple of other things to note. I was getting a trail through here, which I did not see. It was very faint. It's possible that it was picking up some sort of, maybe it was a quick meteor. I'm not sure. It seems like it goes up into this area a little bit. And then I got some other weird aberration through here, and I really don't know what that was. But I didn't notice those until I got back. And so it's possible that in taking a number of these images, these didn't show up in all of them. In fact, they didn't show up in any of the other ones. So it may have been that I just left this open for 10 minutes, and maybe it wasn't necessary to leave it that open that long. But it did a pretty good job. I'm going to bring up the other photo here that I took, because this did a little bit better. So this one was on Orion, which is going to be right in this area here. And you'll see that Mars isn't on there, and Pleiades isn't on there, because I was zoomed in a bit more. And I wanted to see specifically if I could get the Orion Nebula, and what I did get was, it's very, very faint, but I am getting that general shape of it, and it's pretty impressive. Again, this is, we're not talking about a high-res image here. This image was 3648 by 2736 pixels, so not real huge. And when I brought this in originally, I was like, I'm wondering how much of this, like these little tiny stars are noise, how much noise I'm getting in here. At first I was thinking I'm getting a lot of them, getting a lot of noise, like a lot of these are not really truly stars. I couldn't possibly see that many. So I got back and I opened up Stellarium, and then I kind of brought the two in next to each other. I'll see if I can do this here. And look at like this area down here, and compare that with what I'm seeing over here. And if I'm looking at like these stars, these 3 stars, these 3 stars, these stars on either side of it, and then I'm looking over here, I'm seeing same thing. These 2 bright stars here, and the star, one here, comparing that over here, these stars, boom, boom, boom. And same thing down here. 2 stars with 2 stars next to them, 2 smaller stars. And all of that is matching up really, really well. 2 fainter stars here match up with 2 fainter stars here, 2 bright stars here, and 2 bright stars there, and so on and so on. And what I realized is there noise in this image? Yes. Can it be tweaked? Yeah, you can kind of go in and, I don't know if I can do this really quick or not, but I can play around with the brightness and the contrast and play around with the exposure and really try to clean those up a little bit so that I'm getting a really nice dark but bright image. And so anyways, is it perfect? Like I said, no. But, geez, it's much, much better than the night mode I was getting. And I'm really kind of excited about this. the prospect of being able to do some at least amateur stuff. I'm going to go out and take a look at Andromeda on the next clear night I get, and maybe the Ring Nebula, see if I can see that. That might be a little bit really tough to see, but I'm going to shoot for it anyways. And yeah, so I think that's basically it. I kind of wanted to show you that this does a really good job, and I'm very, very happy to be able to do this at no cost. I hope that's helpful to you, and maybe I'll do some follow-up images and stuff that I find. But if you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. And until then, thank you so much for watching. Clear skies to you.